Be you and forge your own path. College football, anyone? And orchid wars?
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello and welcome to a Thursday. It is Stupid Thursday no more. You know why? Because it is Football Thursday. That's right. September 17th, 2020. Tonight, we will see the Bengals versus the Browns. Now, I had done a quick Google search to see who was playing tonight, and Miss Google had said that the show is hosted by Chris Collinsworth. Collinsworthless. I love when people get your name wrong. Boy, you are so annoying. Now, I'm afraid to even talk about football anymore because it seems to be such a controversy this year, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I love me some football. I'm watching me some football. I need my football, but I am feeling a little hesitant to display any support for any NFL this year because so many people are very angry with them. In fact, I had a little gathering with some friends for a sunset gathering at the Bay Beach yesterday. And I was going to wear my Eagles sweatshirt, but then I thought, I don't want people to be like, oh, you're watching the NFL this year. So I chose another sweatshirt, but when I was there, somebody had brought an Eagles towel. I was like, oh, you're an Eagles fan. I had never met this person before. She's like, oh, yeah. So then when my friend Roxanne showed up, she had on her big old New York Giants sweatshirt. I'm like, oh, I see the Giants sweatshirt. She's like, yeah, I knew you were coming. How to wear my Giants sweatshirt. So not everybody is all football. So that is good news because I love me some football. Like I said, Bengals versus Browns tonight. Sometimes the game start around 8:20, I think, somewhere around there. The quote of the day, I have not forgotten, comes from Sir Tom Stoppard. He says, look on every exit as being an entrance somewhere else. Kind of like when one door closes, another opens. So always be looking for the next step. Speaking of football, jumping around a little bit, Big Ten football is back. That's right. College is going to be starting Big Ten football. That includes Penn State. That includes Rutgers. Big teams around here. They are saying it's probably going to be towards the end of October. But, yeah, they're not going to postpone the entire season. So that is some good news if you are a college football fan. I don't typically watch college all that often. I do sometimes watch it in the beginning of the season, say around August, because I'm so starved for football. But, you know, the rules are different in college, and it's just not as good. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. It's just not as good. I think that that's a pretty foregone conclusion, obviously, but some people still might not like to hear it. So there will be a football season for the Big Ten, so that is the good news. I had seen somebody post on Facebook yesterday that they can now get back to scheduling their entire Saturday around the Penn State football schedule. So good for you. Tucker got her hair did. My podcast partner, I will take a picture and post it a little later on today. She is very short. You know, she looks completely different. You know, as probably most dogs do. I've talked about before the fact that she gets so fluffy and she gets to a point which I refer to as peak cuteness, where she's just so fluffy and her hair's just kind of flopping all over the place and she looks so cute. And then within a couple of days, she looks completely homeless. Like, it's just like, okay, way overdue for a haircut. So She got her hair did, and it's been so cool out. She might be needing a sweater because now all of her hair is gone. So I think she likes it a little bit. You know, it was interesting. The groomer had asked me, does she like when she gets groomed? Now, she calls it a pampering. And I said, I'm not really sure. What do you mean? She said, well, a lot of dogs really like after they've been groomed because they get a lot more attention. You know, oh, look how cute you are. And a lot of people fuss over them a little bit more. I said, oh, no, people fuss over Tucker regardless. She makes sure of it. She gets right up into their face, and it was like, pay attention to me. Pet me. Look how cute I am. But maybe it's something I never really paid attention to before because, like I said, she is an attention hog to begin with. So I know I posted a picture a few weeks back of an orchid that I have had for the last 9 years, almost 9 years. And I remember clearly that this orchid was given to me as a gift by my sister-in-law on my first birthday after I married her brother. And we just celebrated our 9th anniversary. So it's almost 9 years since I've had this orchid. It's the first plant I've ever kept alive for any period of time, let alone 9 years. And it typically would, you know, if you are familiar with orchids, you usually buy them with buds on them. There's usually flowers on them when you buy them, and then they'll die off. You know, orchids last a long time. That's what's great about orchids. So after they all fell off, so I guess it was given to me in February, so it probably had flowers on it, and they all fell off, and then I believe they all fell off in like August. It was like a really long time. And then, you know, the flowers all fall off and the stem dies, and then you cut the stem off. And then the following spring, in fact, it's even earlier than that, like March or something. And I don't know if it depends on when you get the orchid or what have you, because I've never gotten another one. The stem would start growing in, say, February, March, April. And then by May, I would be getting lots and lots of flowers. And for the first couple of years, it worked out really well. From house to house, and it was going really good until we moved to this house. This house has great morning sun, but not great afternoon sun. And, you know, there's certain parts of the living room that get a lot of sun in the morning, and then parts that really don't, just because of the direction of the sun coming up. So I had this orchid of mine on this little counter area that I have in the kitchen. Probably does not get a ton of light there, and I have not gotten a new stem to grow new flowers since we have lived here. So, excuse me, still fighting this cough just a little bit. It's getting better. So, last year, I believe it was about a year ago, I moved the orchid to right in front of the sliding glass doors. Right in front of this full-on sun for hours a day. And it really liked it. It started growing all these new feeder. They're just called feeders, I guess. They're like feeder stems or roots or whatever. You know, they grow out of the bottom from where the leafy area is. And they started growing all of these new root areas, and I was like, wow, this is great. I know it's gonna give me a stem this year. No stem this year. So now we're working on 4 years now with no stem at all. And I don't typically buy a lot of orchids, and I look at them every year, but they're usually very pricey. It's like $20 for an orchid, and I'm like, you know, when you think about it, you pay like $12.99 for fresh cut flowers. You're probably going to get a heck of a lot more enjoyment out of an orchid. But, you know, I'm cheap, so I haven't done it. This year I happened to be at BJ's. They had amazing, big, huge orchids for $9.99. And I'm like, oh, I'm buying me one of these bad boys. It's got 3 different stems, and it's even grown new blossoms since I've brought it home. I've had it maybe 2 months now, something like that. So I put the new orchid in the premier spot in front of the sliding glass doors to get all the sun, and I moved the old orchid back to the old spot on the counter. And I even taunted it a little bit, talking to my new orchid, saying how much I loved it and how beautiful it was. And I would turn around to my old orchid and I would go, because I'm immature. I think it worked. Because like I said, there is a stem growing for the first time in 4 years. Do you think it's a competition? Do you think? Now hear me out before you think I'm crazy. I mean, I am crazy, but listen. Do you think that the old orchid saw the new orchid and got a little jealous and was like, I'll show you. I'll grow my own stem. I'll make her fall in love with me again. Because I've been here the longest. We have a bond. She's going to be all over me. And you know what? So far, he's right. I'm all over him. I'm looking at that stem every day. I'm waiting for it to get to the point where I can actually clip it up so it can grow up instead of out. I'm so excited. And I think all I ever needed to do all this time was get a new orchid and create a little competition. Yeah, I'm feeling a little goofy today. I'm feeling a little off the wall, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think it's feasible that these plants could act that way. They say that you should talk to your plants, and I do. I talk to my plants. So what makes me think that there wouldn't be any kind of competition between them? I don't know. I'm just happy. I just love my orchids, and this is definitely not the time of year my stem would typically grow, but I'll take it when I can get it for sure. Moving on to something a little more serious. Do you prefer white American cheese or yellow American cheese? This is important stuff, people. I have to say, with my little informal poll, overwhelmingly, the answer is white. I'm going to say it's 92% say white and 8% say yellow. The interesting thing about the white versus yellow cheese is I really, really did think, excuse me, I really thought that was pretty much a Philly area thing, because it's hard to even find around here at the Jersey Shore. And I asked my brother, who lives in North Carolina, who said he prefers white cheese. I asked if he could get it there, and he said, yeah, we can get it there. It's all we buy. I guess I'm mistaken, because then I've had my cousin in Colorado also say that they prefer white. I didn't think that they had it out there. It definitely seems like a North Jersey, South Jersey kind of thing in this area. If you're from North Jersey, you prefer the yellow. And the South Jersey, Philadelphia people always prefer the white. Now, Mimi says it depends on what I'm eating. Cheeseburger, yellow. Grilled cheese, yellow or white. And a cheese sandwich has to be white. I don't know if I have ever had a cheese sandwich in my life without it being grilled. I love me a grilled cheese sandwich, but it's got to be melty. I think just cheese on a bread. Cheese on bread, is that what a cheese sandwich is? Just cheese on bread? Because like I said, I've never had one. I don't think I would like it. Just a little too much cheese without it being melty. I mean, when it's melted, it's completely different. Jim says, I like them both, but I only buy white because my daughter won't touch the yellow cheese. They taste the same to me, so it must be a mind thing for some people. Now, when it comes to white cheddar versus regular cheddar, that is a huge difference. Yes, I agree. Marcy says Land O'Lakes white American cheese is the best. They are also the most expensive. Now, Michelle from Texas says yellow cheese. I'm going to chalk that up to that's what she's used to, because that's all she could get in Texas, because she's from this area, and I know she grew up on white cheese. I happen to know she grew up on white cheese. I've gotten a couple of white, of course. Chris does say yellow, but yeah, predominantly the choice is white American cheese. It is a battle I get into with my North Jersey friends often. So I would tell them that they are in the 8%. How's that sound? You are only in the 8%. On to today's blog post. We're talking about doing things your own way. There are no rules. No rules. In fact, if there were rules, I would encourage you to break them, because I personally have been a rule follower my entire life, and I feel like it has only hurt me. That those have broken the rules have gotten way ahead of me in life. So, forge your own path. I put up a picture of the tattoo that I have on my arm, and while keeping up your persistence in the drive to the life of your dreams, always remember you can do it all your way. There is no roadmap to your specific dream. There is no one way to get there. That's what's great about life, is we can live it exactly how we choose. Just because someone is successful doing it one way doesn't mean that is what will work for you. Putting your own personal touch on things will make it truly your own, and that is what people want. The true, authentic you. So stop being afraid to be yourself. That is exactly what people want to see. Now, I got the tattoo on my 50th birthday. It's from a song on the Greatest Showman soundtrack. Songs from that movie inspired my blog, which led to the podcast, which led to the business. Now, the idea for my brand came from my own personal experiences. It's about what I did to make my own life a much happier one, the tools and tactics that it took to get me to change my thinking from negative to positive. It's my story, my path, and I truly want to help others do the same. But it doesn't mean I have to do all the same things that other podcasters and bloggers have done to become successful. I can do it my own way. I can do things exactly the way I think they should be done. Just because it worked for one person doesn't mean it will be the same for me. Now, I love this tattoo because it reminds me that I am me. That's what it says. This is me. I am me. I am good enough just the way I am. It's also encouragement to keep doing the things I want to keep in my life. For example, I was really noticing it when I was doing my arm workout the other day. And with every pump of the barbell, I saw the phrase, "This is me." That's right. This is me. The one who works out and is active and lives life out loud. I'm not telling you to get a tattoo, but I love mine and what it represents and reminds me of. If you are happy with the life you currently live and just want to find ways to bring a little more joy into your life, that is exactly what you should do. I know I tend to talk about getting it all, but that's what I want for myself. I know not everyone wants to live a big, bold life. Some people want to exist quietly and live a peaceful life with a little less noise, and that's great. Just find the inspiration and positivity you need to find more joy on a daily basis. Just because your mother wants more for you, or your sister does, or your kids do, that doesn't matter. But really, really think about how you want the rest of your life to unfold, because you get one chance here. And once you figure that out, do it your way. And don't let anyone tell you anything different. You truly do know in your heart and your gut when you are on the right path. Follow it and have faith. It's the same thing when it comes to your relationship and parenting. Not all relationships and marriages are the same. You do what works for you and your partner with no worries about what other people may think or say. Maybe you guys spend all week apart and only see each other on the weekends. If you are both okay with that, then do it. If you eat dinner at different times because of work schedules, that's okay too. You can eat different meals. You can vacation solo. Like I said, there's no rules. You do you. Maybe a little harder with parenting just because there's so much judgment, and people really do feel entitled to tell you when they feel you're doing something wrong. They sometimes have good intentions, but it's still none of their business how you raise your kids as long as they are safe and healthy. I had a woman tell me one time she hoped I wasn't speaking about a particular topic on this podcast. I'm sure her intentions were good, but it's really none of her business what I talk about on my own show. And I kind of resented the suggestion that I shouldn't talk about something because she didn't feel the same way about the topic as I did. It is good to have a guide if you feel lost or don't know where to start. I follow so many people online that inspire me and show me how they make their businesses work. But that doesn't mean it's set in stone. The best thing to do is to grab a couple of ideas and brainstorm on how to make them your own. What is something you can do that is similar to what others have done, but have your own spin on it? Or work it in a way that is most convenient for you. A good brainstorming session is always in order. It's so underrated. Just free write. It's the best. As you tackle something new, pay attention to your gut. It really will guide you. It will let you know if this is the right direction. But you have to be still enough and sure of yourself enough to hear it. That's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Being sure of yourself and keeping the faith. Oh, it is Thursday. I hope you have a great I Wish It Were Cocktail Friday, Thursday. And meanwhile, you know what I want you to do. I want you to go out there and be your badass self. I'm always cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.